Raising teenage children could be very overwhelming and challenging for any parent. And we know if you have been with teenage, you know their attitude, you know that conflict and a lot of complaints, being brought up by the parents because of the attitude of the teenagers, the adolescents. Their little boy or little girl of yesterday, they seem not to understand that child again. They seem not to say, oh, my sweet baby of just previous years, it has changed to something else. But it's not the fault of these teenagers, this adolescent. Is just because of a lot of things physiological, which is about their development that is happening, in their life. And it's just a phase. They will soon overgrown that become fully develop into an adult, and all those phases, they get mature. So today we're going to be talking about the teens development, and so that as adults, as parents, as teachers, or whosoever may be under the care of these teenagers, these adolescents, will understand, why their attitude or the way they behave, in certain situation, and be able to support and help them to overcome whatsoever challenges they may be going through during this development or this phase of their life. My name is Dr. Debbie. I'm a psych provider, and I deal about children. I render services to children, adults, professionals, talk about stress, talks about a burnout, and for teenage, about transitioning and how to navigate relationship and everything about human mental health. So today, as I said, we are starting from the number one point, which is the development of these teens, becoming an adult. They were children, and now they're transitioning into adulthood, which is the phase that is being referred to as adolescent, the period of adolescence, and now they are becoming adolescent, they are teenagers, and they are getting to become adults. And during that time, they are getting mature, a lot of development, secondary sex characteristics, they are becoming bigger, they are growing, and everything about them, is changing. And to this teenage kids, these teenagers, it may becoming embarrassing or overwhelming to them as well. A lot of differences, like the young girl, like the puberty, the phase of puberty, they are seeing their period, their feminine shape, and then the boys as well. So at this time, we need to support them and explain to them and be like a resource to them, to let them understand what is going on in their life, that it is physiological, it is okay, and nothing to worry about. And also, as their physical body is developing, so also their brain as well. They are maturing in some aspect, but the rate of development in one part of the body or one part of the brain differ from individual to individual, from one part of the body to the other one. But we should understand that it's just a phase of development in their life, and they need their support. Then the number two is the attention. The attention of the teens are always very short. They are just transitioning from childhood into adulthood. So more of the short attention span from childhood, they still carry it into this phase, and especially the development of that aspect that deals with attention, which is the prefrontal cortex of the brain. It's one of the last organ in the brain, to get mature. So because of that, the planning and the decision making, which the prefrontal cortex of the brain is responsible for, a little bit, a little bit slow at that time, for the short attention of these kids. And because of that, this thing, they tend to pay attention to only what interests them, and this get frustrated. It could be very frustrating for their parent that you give some instructions to these young ones, they are going to ignore, they are going to tell you that they will do it later, and all that, and they do that which interests them, like sending their text to their friends, watching their clips, sending their posts, on the social media, on the TikTok and all that. Then you wonder that, oh, I've asked you to do this thing, how many hours ago, and you are still saying you will get it done. Just give me this little time more and all that. It's just because of their nature at that time. And then, like we said, the area of the prefrontal cortex, the brain responsible for planning and decision making, to be able to organize and plan and discern that, oh, I need to attend, to this important thing that mom or dad asked me to do, or the teacher, like the assignment and all that. But what is more important to them, like their peer, their hero worshippers, and then they just want to be at the same page with their peers. They don't want to be left behind, and then the message back and forth with them and their peers is more important to them than whatsoever that the parent think is more important, for the family or the teacher for their own academic growth and all that. So we just need to redirect them, we need to support them and let them know, that this is important at this time, and then we do it with care, with love, and more of understanding, so that they will benefit and there will not be conflict, and we know it's just for a phase. They are growing, and then they will soon overgrown that, and they will become full adults and have a different worldview, and taking responsibility for their life. The number three is about motivation. The motivation to at this stage for teens is a little bit reduced, and that is one of the reasons to bring in a lot of conflict and misunderstanding between teens and their parents and teachers. Yeah, like you see, their room is very untidy, like doing house chores, a lot of things. It's not that they are lazy or being misinterpreted that maybe they have ADHD. It's just because naturally, the all those aspects of the brain responsible, for reward is a little bit slow down, immature, fully mature at that time. They prefer, things that are of short attention, short reward, that will motivate them immediately. So because of this, we just need to give support, encouragement, and then be able to let them know, what is important in life, and get things done. And as I said, it's not to be confused with ADHD. Symptoms of ADHD usually show up a little earlier when they are younger, maybe before the age of 7, or around 7 and 12 years old. So if they are having symptoms of ADHD, that has to be in two settings, and that has to be really when during the phase of childhood, between maybe before age 7, or approximately age 7 to 12 years. And it has to be in two settings, both at school and at home, that you will see the symptoms of hyperactivity, inattentiveness, and then struggling with the academics, and needing support and all that. But if it is just like short attention span or lack of motivation, that, oh, I will do it later, and all this is just because of the phase they are. They are going through a lot of development, growth, maturation, and then it will soon get to that aspect that they will be fully mature, and then they will get to do things as an adult. And the last one is number 4 is risk taking, which is very common with young people, teenagers, adolescents. you know they just like we said, that they like short attention, and then short reward. They don't plan for long term, but they think that, oh, I will get it done right away. They think they can handle everything, they think they are superhero, they are able to do all things, and they get themselves into trouble. They get themselves into risk taking, which at times will endanger their life or the life of other people. And that is why we need to educate them from time to time. And this educational video, coming across our way as parents, as teachers, as uncles and aunties, so that we understand the way the development of these young folks, the way they reason, the way their brain work, and we can be able to help them, educate them, sit them down, slow them down a little bit, and with understanding, with support, that they will be able to do things, better and be safe. I hope you learned something. My name is Dr. Debbie. Like I've said, I'm a psych provider, and I specialize with children, adolescents, and adults. Like for adults, expert professionals about burnout, and just life coaching in generally. And for the young folks, the teenagers, the adolescents, how to help them, to be able to see them through, social pressures and navigating relationships, school stresses, and transitioning that we have talked about in this video about transitioning from childhood to adolescent to be a responsible individual as they are growing up, that they will be able to be a blessing, a complete, like responsible citizens and individual to their family, to themselves, and to, of course, to their nation and to the world at large. And I hope you learned something from this video, and I'll be looking forward to your comments, your thoughts, your opinions, your experiences. What are you experiencing with your young folks, your teenagers, your adolescents? Yeah, or did you get something that, oh, you think that, okay, maybe they are being lazy, or they are just like not wanting to obey or abide by the instruction in the family? Drop it in the comment section, and we can learn together, and we can do better, in our relationship with our young ones. So until my next video, have a positive mental health. Thank you. Bye.